Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. The double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS who rules well, peace, and salutations to the elect. My name is Aina. The title of this video is Coming to a City Near You, a Day Like Never Before. Right, and ultimately, there's big things happening in Iran and possibly, in the near future, an attack. But great death is happening right over here in Iran. And ultimately, what I want to start with is, as you can see, this is the page here, right? This is the video, and you can go check this thing out. You can check the video out. You can search these things up and see if it's actually happening, right? Because if you're not watching and not paying attention, maybe things might seem like it's all good. I don't know. I'm not in a position to say I can say that things are all good because I know they're not. But you could be in that position, right? And that's why the Most High Yahweh Bashma Washah set up watchmen, all right, to let you know, prophets, to let you know what's exactly happening around you. So when we do these videos and you see these things, if you're not believing if it's true, if it's fake news, whatever the case may be, you should look these things up. Now, this is Isaiah 60:1. It says, Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord Yahweh Bashma Washah is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord Yahweh Bashma shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. Now the scriptures say, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Right? The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Right? Ultimately, having this wisdom and knowledge and understanding and a good, healthy fear of the Lord, Yahweh Bashma is what's gonna keep you stable because you know what's happening. Right? And all these things, go back to prophecy, right? Matthew 24 says, these are the beginning of sorrow, but these things must be. All right. So we're comforted in knowing that prophecy, pursuant to Habakkuk 2, though it tarry, it shall surely come. Right. And that's what the scriptures say, and it is here now. Right. But you want to make sure you're mindful, right, of the things that's happening and you're paying attention, and you're getting it for yourself too. Right. The word along with seeing the times. The scriptures talk about in Second Esdras 9:1, it says, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I've told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it's the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So we're measuring the time and we're lining the prophecies up with what's happening out here in the real world, right? With the real scriptures. And they equate basically to the end, right? This is Second Esdras, let me see, 15. All right, 16. The scriptures say you're not mindful of the scourges. This is Second Esdras 16:17. It says, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? The days I'm about to go into, great death, famines, pestilence. It says the beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evil. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Right, and this attack on Iran could go south, which it could basically go into World War III being said out loud. Basically, they're saying it silently, right? But this could be said out loud if they attack Iran and things start to shift. But it did take some time because ultimately we know that World War III would end with the nuclear missiles, but we're in the beginning stages of World War III, all right, and they could proclaim that thing, right? And the cities could start shutting down, and all that could start happening. It says, "Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for a minute. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges." So you could think, shit is good, or things are good, being not mindful of what's happening. It says, "Behold, victual shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion." Now, this could be a lot of you people, right, that's watching the videos thinking it's okay and everything is good because they will they will just lie to you. Like I'm seeing they got new movies coming out December 2026. I'm like, and me, you know, we'll see, but they got the movies out there, everything is out there. Meanwhile, the whole world is burning, literally, all over the place. All right. So you want to go over these scriptures and go over these videos, go check these pages out and see what's happening around the world. Because right now, America, well, it wasn't a bubble, but as you can see, things are now reaching home, for a lot of you. Right? A lot of you are crying now all over the place, mouths wide open, crying. All right. So, and it's only going to intensify to a day like never before. All right, where all type of apparitions, right, which is ghostly, figures and things like that, spawning in front of you, animals just tearing you apart. All these different things are going to be happening. All right, and this is the beginning stages of those sorrows, pursuant to Matthew 24. Now, this is why I got Ezekiel. I want to get I'll get it from right. I got Ezekiel 2 and Ezekiel 3. Basically, it says the prophet's call. So this is our job to do the thing that we're doing, telling you that there is a such thing as Jacob's trouble, and you will go through it in your lifetime, in the near future. All right, and it won't be fun or easy. Right, Ezekiel 2:1. It says, "And he said unto me, Son of man, stand upon thy feet, and I will speak unto thee. And the Spirit entered into me when he spake unto me, and set me upon my feet, that I heard him that spake unto me. And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this very day. For they are imprudent children and stiff-hearted. I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashmawashah. And they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious house, yet shall they know that there have been a prophet among them." Right, and a lot of you are figuring that out now. Different people are coming to the camps and saying, "Oh man, I was looking for you." All hell is breaking loose. You got different podcasters are saying things like that. I think those Hebrew Israelites are right. I'm starting to see what they was talking. So it says, "And thou, son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words. Though bearers and thorns be with thee, and thou doest well among scorpions, be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. And thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious." And I continue. It says, "But thou, son of man, hear what I say unto thee. Be not thou rebellious like that rebellious house. Open thy mouth and eat that I give thee," which is the scripture. The scriptures talk about eating the whole roll. All right. Which is all the wisdom and the knowledge and understanding. It says, "When I looked, behold, and the hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll." Sorry, 1 second. All right, Shalom. So I'm back. I think I was going into Ezekiel 2. It says, and he's in Ezekiel 2:10, "And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without, and there was written therein lamentations and mourning and woe." Exactly, and that's exactly what y'all about to enter into, right? Even myself, all of us, we're hoping to be of that number, the whole elect, right? But we all gonna be tested and tried. But 2/3 is they're gonna have to suffer. They're gonna have to know death by pain, right? In many different ways. You can get a gunshot to being eaten alive by animals, raped by ICE agents and then killed, strangled to death, a lot of different ways. So Ezekiel 3, and let's get it from 17. Ezekiel 3:17, it says, "Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give a warning from me." See, so the prophets, the men of the Lord, are actually watching. They're, going in, looking at these different prophecies in the world, and they're looking for these things that happen in the world, which we have already, before these was happening, we forewarned you about it, right? That's what a prophet means. Prophet means to say before, right? And that's what we have done, starting without elder apostles, all the way going back to the 1960s, right? Bringing the truth out for the things that's happening now. And as they unfold rapidly in front of us, we're still pointing out like, hey, look, this is what we've been talking about for the longest, is right here. So it's not like you got much time left to get it together with what's going on around you. But, we're still here, we're still giving a warning, so you still have a chance or a window to do something about it. But anyway, Ezekiel 3:17, it says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speak to warn the wicked from his wicked way to save his life. The same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood without a part at thine hand. Yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. All right. And pretty much that's what we're doing, right? We're spreading the 100% truth, the correct message, warning you that all hell is about to break loose, and you need to get it together because, as the title says, coming to a city near you, a day like never before. Now I got these two videos, and let me just probably play this one first.
Protesters in Iran continued to take to the streets on Sunday night, despite escalating repression. The internet has been shut down in the country, leaving virtually no information about what's happening there in recent hours. However, medical workers at 2 hospitals told the BBC they've received more than 100 bodies in 2 days, while human rights activists say the death toll is over 500.
So just take that into example with ICE agents killing people, left and right in your city. Now, this is just one group of ICE agents in one city, and each city has about 100 dead per day, because that's what's going to come to. They're not, it's not going to be, one thing happened over here with these ICE agents in this city. It's going to be like every city have ICE agents, right? And they all doing something at the same time. So they kill one person. You got, however many cities they go to, there's 50 states, right? That just say 100 people died in 50 states. So that's a great number of people dying in one day, because you got different operations that's going to be happening.
Amid the ongoing protests in Iran, hospitals are on the verge of collapse. Doctors told the BBC that emergency rooms are overcrowded, bodies of the dead are piling up, and it is impossible to provide timely assistance to patients with gunshot wounds. The morgue was already full, and the bodies of the deceased had to be taken away. According to the source, authorities demanded money from the families in exchange for the bodies being handed over for burial. Another medic told BBC Persian that he had seen horrific scenes in one of the hospitals in Tehran. The number of injured was...
Sorry for that noise. I got something plugged into my computer. I don't know if it was them or my thing, but sometimes it messes up. Slocky.
So high that there was not enough time for staff and resuscitation measures. About 38 people died. Many died as soon as they were brought onto ambulance beds. The number of people killed was so high that there was no room in the morgue. The bodies were piled on top of each other, said a medic in Tehran. Most of the dead and injured were young men aged between 20 and 25. BBC Persian was able to identify 26 of the dead, including 6 minors. Judging by the bodies of the victims, they were shot deliberately, in the heads and hearts of the young people, said a medic in Tehran. The scale of the violence the regime has used against the protesters can only be guessed at. The Iranian authorities have blocked the internet, and information from the country is leaking out in fragments. Daily mass protests against Iran's leadership have continued unabated since December 28, 2025.
Right, and the same scenario is going to play out here in Babylon. Like I got Verizon, usually works pretty well, right? But for about, I don't know, 3 hours now or so, or an hour and a half, whatever the case may be, my phone hasn't been working, and it's kind of weird, of course, because I got other devices on Verizon, but they're working just fine. Right, I'm even using the internet right now, So I got backup devices and it was working. But anyway, the phone was not working, so I couldn't call no one. No one could call me. Right, I couldn't even go on YouTube, and look at videos. The YouTube had just stopped. All right. So the same thing can happen here. Blackouts in the city, power outages. Internet is down. Different things, right?
Despite Iranian security forces' harsh crackdown on demonstrators and internet blockades, crowds of protesters have taken to the streets of Tehran and other major cities. Demonstrators are banging pots and chanting slogans like "Death to Khamenei," addressing their message to Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, while drivers honk their horns in support. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps threatened to suppress the protests. Ensuring national security is a red line for the Iranian military, and therefore, the army will use force to protect national interests, the country's strategic infrastructure, and public property, the IRGC stated on state television.
All right. So, just a mass body, pileup. And I was looking at some of these other videos. This page. You got all these dead bodies out on the ground. Okay, this second Esdras chapter 5, verse 1 says, Nevertheless, as coming the tokens, behold, the days shall come. The tokens is what? The signs, the prophecies, right? It says, the day shall come that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. Right? That also goes into Amos 8 and 11, right? When there's a famine of the word, right? Of this message coming out, right? And this is comforting you, even you knowing that someone knows exactly what's going on, right? I'm telling you, pursuant to the scriptures, hey, look, this is what's happening pursuant to the scriptures, Yahweh watching out what is in control. Don't worry, that's comforting you, but you need to have it for yourself, right? Because it's going to come a time where maybe the internet shut off, right? The phones don't work. And you can't get that comforting message anymore. The scriptures say, that y'all come and y'all listen is like a lovely song, right? What is it, Ezekiel 30 and 33, or is it 33, 33? Yeah, it says Ezekiel 33 and 30, it says, Also, thou son of man, the children of thy people are still talking against thee by the walls and in the doors of the houses, and speak one to another, every one to his brother, saying, Come, I pray you, and hear what is the word that cometh forth from the Lord Yahweh Bashmi Awashad. And they come unto thee and this is another scripture proving that the Most High Yahweh Bashmi Awashad has set up men. Right? What is it? Luke 1 and 70? He has set up men. Y'all know who those men are. Right? Y'all come to the prophets to listen. It says, and they come unto thee as the people cometh, and they sit before thee as my people, and they hear thy words, but they will not do them. For with their mouth they show much love, but their heart goes after covetousness. It says, and lo, thou art unto them a very lovely song of one that have a pleasant voice and can play well on an instrument, for they hear thy words, but they do them not. And when this comes to pass, Lord will come, then shall they know that a prophet have been among them. All right. So y'all listening, y'all hearing. Over here. But it's gonna come a time, Amos 8 and 11, where you won't be able to listen or hear. Okay. It says, but iniquity, second Esdras 15 and 2, it says, but iniquity shall be increased above that which now thou seest, or thou hast heard long ago. So all type of hell is going to be here, right? All type of wickedness is going to be taking place, right? In the land that thou seest now to have root, shalt thou see wasted suddenly. What is that going into? When you get Joel chapter 2, right, where it talks about the missiles, the land before them as a garden of Eden, and behind them a desolate wilderness, right? Things like that. One of my precepts is Revelations 18, right, chapter 10. Revelation 18 and 9 says, and the king of the earth, whose who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her. I'll get it from 8. Revelation 8:8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire. For strong is the Lord Yahweh Bashmawashai, who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. All right. It says, but if the Most High, Yahweh Bashmawashai, grant thee to live, thou shalt see after the third trumpet that the sun shall suddenly shine again in the night, and the moon thrice in the day. Now these are signs in the heavens, right? With the moon shining in the day and the sun shining at night, right? It says, and blood shall drop out of the wood, and the stone shall give his voice, and the people shall be troubled. You know, just a lot of death going on. You know, the commotion, the noise, the nuclear missiles hitting, right? The stones banging up against wherever, right? It says, and even he shall rule whom they look not for, that shall dwell upon the earth, and the fowls shall take their flight away together. And that is, you know, the Israelites. Let me see. That's who's going to rule, right? Because no one's looking for us. The scriptures say they'll be amazed at the strangeness of our salvation. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. It says, Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. Right? And they, repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves, This was he whom we had sometimes in derision, in a proverb of reproach. We fools account his life madness, and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of Yahweh Bashmawashai, and his lot is among the saints? And they some were already seeing that they fucked up, right? And some of them trying to repent, you know, and say, you know, whatever they're trying to say, because they said they're at the end. They will really realize when the chariots come, right? Matthew 24:30, right? Is it Matthew 24:30, right? And beam us up out of here. All right. And then we come back and beat their ass. Matthew 24:30. Says, because we got to be safe from that destruction, right? The nuclear missiles. It says in Matthew 24:29, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken, right? From nuclear missiles, smoke all in the air, right? Covering the sky. I was seeing that recently, earlier. One of these days I was driving, I think like through a snowstorm or, you know, a little rain or something, and over me was dark, you know, dark as hell, just from the clouds and the storm. But right down a little further, you could see sun, right? And then I got to a point where it started raining. It was just sunny outside. Like I didn't even know the sun was out. You know, that is like a complete difference. You know, it says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. It'd be like that in Florida. You be driving in Florida, you know, either it's in front of you or behind you, but it's always a difference. Either behind you is like a complete storm, and in front of you is clouds, or in front of you is clouds, and behind you, you know, is sunny, basically, right? It says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. See, so the chair is going to pick us up and deliver us from that destruction that's going to happen in 1 hour, right? So it says, 2 Ezra 5:7, and the sodomite sea shall cast out fish and make a noise in the night, which many have not known, but they shall all hear the voice thereof. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be often sent out again. And the wild beasts shall change their places, and menstruous women shall bring forth monsters, right? Deformed babies, you know, just YNs, you know, confusion, fires everywhere, animals not in their natural habitations. They all up in your house, in your refrigerator, you know. It says, and salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding will draw itself into the secret chamber, and shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and consistency, right, be multiplied upon earth. One land also shall ask another and say, is righteousness that maketh a man righteous going through thee? And it shall say, no, right? At the same time shall men hope, but nothing obtain. They shall labor, but their ways shall not prosper. Right. So these are some of the tokens that's going to be happening in a day like never before, which is Jacob's trouble. Right. That's why I titled it, because great death and all these tokens and things will be coming real soon. Right. Jeremiah 30:6, it says, start at 5. It says, for thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man do travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that it is none like it. It is even in time of Jacob's trouble, but he, the elect, shall be saved out of it. Right. So you want to give diligence to make that calling and election sure here in these last days. You want to seek the Lord while he may be found. You want to get all this information inside of you, right? So you can stand on your own 2 feet, right? When Amos 8:11 comes in, there's no one here teaching you the words no more. Okay. Because it's fastly approaching.
In a shocking but not unsurprising turn of events, the protests against the theocracy in Iran have turned extremely deadly, with Iranian government forces massacring potentially thousands of protesters. Let me show you guys. So we've seen reports now, quite a few reports, in fact, that the IGRC, this is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the Ayatollah's personal, not quite religious police, more like religious military, has been deployed inside Iran and has killed hundreds, likely thousands of people. And you can see in some of the video being leaked out, reportedly, hospitals are literally resorting to simply broadcasting simple PowerPoints of photographs of bodies for identification. And you can see in some leaked video coming out of the country, remember, the internet has been completely blacked out. This is, of course, a staple Iranian prerequisite to conducting these kind of butcherings. You can see just dozens and dozens of body bags. So some outlets are reporting, oh, there's 150, 100, 200 people killed. Those are likely official numbers that absolutely downplay the scale of this. The scale of this is absolutely massive. And it is really unprecedented in a generation to see this level of crackdown by the Iranian regime. Worth bearing in mind, guys, when they took power, the regime killed around 80,000 Iranians who were seen as too secular, part of dissident parties, believed to be too friendly to the monarchy or too friendly to liberal democracy. Now, Iran has said it will retaliate if attacked by the United States, as protesters reportedly continue to protest despite the massacre. And reportedly, these protests are now in 100 cities and towns in every single province in Iran.
That's what I was saying earlier regarding the ICE agents here in America. They're going to be scattered all over the place. Right. So we got 100 dead in one city, you got 100 dead in the next city. Right. So that's that great death. Right. So, hey, things are, definitely heating up, and just blowing a trumpet on that. Shalom to the hopeful elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.